Okay. Well, first off, we want to thank you guys so much for coming. These industry conversations really give a lot of our students insight into the field. So just to kind of begin, would you mind kind of saying your name and your company, anything in montage you want to say about yourself?
Sure, great, yeah. Hi, everybody, my name is Jeremy Couch. I'm a professional engineer, and a USF alumni. I graduated in 2006 from College of Engineering here in Civil. My company is called Tampa Civil. It's a land development design firm, and I'm the president. I started the company in 2009, so it's about 17 years, and I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Anthony Santiago. I work with a company called Western Specialty Contractors. We're a waterproofing, I like to call it spicy construction. It's niche, it's waterproofing. It's not exactly construction per se. It's a niche industry, like I said. I'm a senior project manager in sales of the West Coast territory. And I've been with the organization. We're going on 9 years now. And when I was in college, just like you at UCF, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what I wanted to get into. I just wanted to get into something. And I got into this. I never looked back since. Happy to be here.
Thank you for coming. Good evening, everyone. My name is Martine Fizame, and I'm currently with Atkins Realis. I've been with them now for 21 years. I am a civil engineer, a professional. I have my PE license, and Atkins Realis itself is a full service firm. So I work in what's called the general engineering contract. I manage that contract. I'm a program director, but my true background is roadway and highway design as a civil engineer.
Good afternoon. My name is Matthew Yurkevich. I am the Director of Sales with Stanley Martin Homes here in Tampa. We are a home building operation. We buy land, develop it in times with the help from Tampa Civil over there. And then we will build all the homes and create neighborhoods for our families that we're working with. Been there about 90 days now, but been in the industry about 20 plus years.
Amazing. Thank you guys for that intro. So we've kind of accumulated some top questions that we have, and I'll go ahead and ask it to the group. And please, one of you at least answer the question. And then if either multiple of you feel passionate about it, please feel free. We're open to multiple responses, and we're just interested to hear your guys' perspective on things. So just to start it off, so how important is mentorship in construction, engineering, or project management?
I could start that, yes. So, like I mentioned, I started at my firm 21 years. And when I first started, there was, I would say, no one that looked like me. So I knew I needed to find a mentor, someone that could guide me through the process. And I was fortunate enough to find a mentor in one of our office managers, who eventually he became the CFO of the firm, the company. But he taught me like the business side of civil engineering, which was interesting because you wonder like, oh, I didn't go to school for this. Just like when you go to calculus class, you're like, am I ever going to use this? But it was one of those things where I didn't realize I needed to know the business side of civil engineering. And he was able to help guide me. So it's extremely important to look for a mentor. Don't be afraid to ask for a mentor because they will help guide you through the way, even to a certain point. And you actually have the opportunity as well. Don't be afraid to have multiple mentors because I've had multiple mentors through my 21 years at Atkins Realis.
Wow, that's amazing. And you kind of mentioned that you wanted to gauge that profession. What did you go to school for?
So I actually went to school for civil engineering.
Okay.
I went to FAMU, Florida A&M University in Tallahassee. And from there, it was actually interesting how I got there to do civil engineering because in Miami, I'm originally from Miami, Florida, and at the time they were building the HOV lanes. And it was, again, a mentor, my high school math teacher, that I asked the question, how are they putting up these bridges from nothing, in space? And at the time, it was just amazing to me to see it happen. And so she explained what civil engineering was. So from 11th grade, I knew I wanted to do civil engineering and went to school for it. I actually have my master's in structural engineering.
Wow, that's impressive, yes. So did either of you guys want to respond to this question as well?
Yeah, to kind of add to that, I think that mentorship is something that you start while you're in school. And then it's something that you go through your entire career. At every level of my career, I've changed mentors. So when you're in school, you're looking for an internship, maybe you're trying to find an engineer that, you could gain information from, or a supervisor when you start a firm. But as you grow up, maybe you make it to a project manager level. You need to find a group of project managers to get better at that. Even as a business owner, I still am a part of a CEO peer group, because you can't stop learning. So it's very critical to have that.
Amazing. And do you guys now, as the professionals you are, do you guys have mentees?
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
One thing I would add is for mentorship, you have to seek them out. They don't just show up at your doorstep. You have to be willing to put yourself out there and ask somebody who's achieved success, would you mind helping me? Because 9 times out of 10, they'll say yes. They would want to do that. They want to pay it forward, but you have to be willing to go ask for it.
Amazing. Are all of your mentees within the same company or did they approach you in a different way?
Different places.
Different places. I have 2 in the company and 2 not in my company
Right.
yet.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Could you just give us an idea of who our audience is too?
Absolutely. So, well, they can introduce themselves. I know some are civil.
Just like high level, is everybody civil or are you from various departments?
Well, my name is Alexander Alvarez, and this is my first semester actually. I'm a transfer student. I was in South Carolina. I got a scholarship to play soccer, so that's why I went over there. And right now I'm seeking a master's in civil engineering, getting into bridges or roadway.
Yeah, so we kind of have a mix between civil engineers, also students who are just kind of interested in the field as well. We do encourage students a lot of the time that even though your major might be different, kind of gaining those transferable skills later on could be useful. And that could be a great question too. Like, do you find that maybe students who didn't pursue this exact major, civil engineering or specifically project management, do you find they're able to get those skills to transfer into it?
I can speak for myself. I have nothing to do with my degree for my
Amazing.
profession. I actually have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice and communications,
Wow.
and used that in the law enforcement aspect for years. And then one day woke up and said, I want to go into the home building business. So I had a career change, found a mentor, and here I am. Along the way, I got an MBA with that. But the reality is your degree will teach you a lot. But that once you get into the world and you apply certain things, you'll start to learn different things, right? Through mentorship, through your career field. And I think the biggest thing is just be willing to try, be willing to put yourself out there, and you'll learn things along the way.
Appreciate that perspective. Thank you.
I think there's a big difference between an education and a career.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A lot of people think that because you went to school and you studied engineering, that you're going to be an engineer. You're classically trained in engineering, but what you do for your career is what your passion is.
Yeah.
Where your life takes you. And you don't learn that until later.
So I went to school for engineering and I graduated civil engineering from UCF. I don't do that at all. I don't even apply that. I don't. And I was very quickly humbled in my career that I chose because, we do specialty waterproofing and we do concrete preservation. I had worked with a lot of fixed conditions and solving problems, and I thought I understood a lot, but I quickly realized that fixed conditions in a classroom setting where you're solving problems versus real life is completely different. And then bridging that gap was huge for me. But it helps to be well-rounded, right? Because maybe, you know, some of those things I learned in engineering, maybe I didn't exactly know what I was doing when I first started, but I knew enough to maybe talk about, hey, is there a different way that we could, you know, step from this space to extend this arm, reach over to this, you know, and those small little explanations to people help bridge the gap between my understanding and their understanding, and maybe I might surprise them with something new, you know? So it just helps to be well-rounded in other areas to try to apply to something that you might be pursuing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we kind of have a question that somewhat relates into this topic. So was there ever a moment when you questioned whether you chose the right field? And then what helped you either pivot or stay?
Isn't that what we do every day?
Mine's definitely yes, because I'm in a whole different world, right? But I think that's the great thing, you know, you have the opportunity to reinvent at a certain point, whatever that looks like. And for me, it was a different career. For some people, it might just be a different company or pursuing their own business, right? So everybody has their own path. It's just figuring out what you're passionate about.
Amazing.
And so for me, like I mentioned, I have my master's in structural engineering. That means I went to school for 6 years, got the structural engineering. And when I started at my company, Atkins Realis, I realized I do not want to do structures. It was actually while I was interviewing for the position and seeing all the different companies with some of the major companies too. And I was like, well, I don't think this is what I want to do. So, and that's how I ended up in the highway, roadway, bridges section. And I've been in it since. And our company does offer a rotation program. So I was able to rotate into structural, into drainage design, into environmental. And I was like, okay, I did make the right choice. But at first I was questioning like, well, should I, you know, go back to doing structural engineering, which is what I went to school for? But no, I was like, okay, I think I made the right choice.
Yeah, that's amazing. You're able to be part of the program.
Yes.
Where they
Yep.
allowed you to try that. Do they still offer that?
They do. Yes, they do.
Awesome. So kind of next question. What does a hard day in your profession actually look like? Unromanticized version.
So a hard day in my profession looks like there's a lot of different moving parts, right? You're dealing with, for us, it's sales, right? Sales and project management. You're doing both, right? So not only are you managing the expectations of your clients, but you're managing the expectations of your office, of your field crew. So it could look like you're estimating a bunch of projects at one time. It could look like you're trying to put out some fires at another time. But it all comes down to doing what's right and just sticking to that path and not straying too far from that.
And to add on to that, again, one of those things you don't realize you go to school for. And as you progress in your career as a mentor, as a manager, there's the people side of it. And so you have your job that, like you meant, you're trying to meet deadlines, you're trying to make sure you're getting all the components done. But then you have person A, B, C. Hey, Martine, I have a problem. Hey, I need help with this. And it will stop you dead in your tracks, because if you work for a company and that you go up to the person and say, hi, I need help with something, and the person either doesn't give you, hey, you know, I'll do this, let's get together in about an hour, or they schedule a date with you, or if they push you away, then you kind of have to question that company you work for. So, but I find myself that we kind of put the people first. I do stop what I'm doing a little bit and say, hey, let's talk for 10 minutes, if I 5 to 10 minutes. So there's that people side of it. And believe it or not, that's actually hard. If you're not trained on the people side of managing people. Because, you know, again, we go to school for engineering or construction, but there's the people management side of it that kind of adds that extra layer of difficulty.
Absolutely. Understood. Yes. So I would love if you guys all kind of answered this next question that we have. If you were graduating today, what would you tell your future self either to do differently or the same? What's like that piece of advice? It's okay to take a moment.
I would just say, don't rule anything out. Be open, because you never know, right? Things change in our world on a daily basis. What it looked like when I graduated from college isn't what it looks like today. So being able to be fluid with yourself, your career, your education will help make a difference for you along your path.
So for me, it's more like, listen twice as much than I speak, because, when I was graduating college, I don't know why, but I just thought I knew a lot, I knew a lot. But I quickly realized, like I said earlier, I was humbled early on in my career because, I came to realize I didn't really know a whole lot, or not to what pertain to what we were doing. So there's things that there's things that you think and there's things you don't know that you don't, right? So I would just take my time and just listen to the people that are trying to teach me, that are trying to mentor me, and I would just take that time to just listen and absorb as much as I could before I started making mine. And don't be afraid to make mistakes, right? Because mistakes is how you're gonna learn how to be better, right? So make a lot of mistakes, not too many, but make mistakes. It's okay.
So you kind of took my because I was gonna say, don't be afraid to make mistakes. When we're in school, we're trying to get the A, we're trying to, graduate with honors and trying to do everything. But don't be afraid to say, hold on, if you do have to be a part of an organization, like I said, people management is very important in our profession. So try to look for those organizations that will help you improve your people skill. So then you kind of have to balance your time. So not in addition to making mistakes, take your time. Like take your time. There was a point. I myself at FAMU, I was in the marching 100, a marching band. This is a major marching band, and it takes time to kind of balance school and being in this band. And so I realized I needed to take my time because there was that one semester where I took 21 hours because I had to catch up. I was like, you know what? I could have just graduated a year later instead of pushing myself that one semester because I almost broke. So take your time while you're here, go at a pace that is for you. You do want to graduate, for sure. Everybody should want to graduate, but make sure to take your time.
Grades don't matter, relationships do. And so if you're not building relationships outside of this campus, you're already behind. I mean, you have to go build relationships outside of this campus.
Network.
You have to network.
Yeah.
It's business, career, every job, every opportunity, every project, every team. It's going to be because of a relationship and not because, after your first interview, your GPA doesn't matter. Nobody cares. So it's really start making relationships in the business community now.
I'll even make a shameless plug for the USF career fairs. They do a great job.
Right?
You guys should go to these career fairs. I myself, I present at the career fairs. It's amazing to see the students that do come out and speak to us. And actually, that's how one of the mentees we connected. She actually works for a competing engineering firm. She interns with them, but I mentor her. So definitely take advantage of the career fairs.
And, just as much as you're here to hear from us, I'm here to scout you because we're constantly looking for students at my firm. We're looking for the next great engineers. I'm sure you guys are doing the same thing. We're here. It's fun to talk and answer questions, but really,
It's an opportunity.
we're looking for opportunities with students. We're looking for our next engineers.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for that. So kind of building off of that, what do you guys believe employers are looking for in a recent graduate within your field? Are there specific skills, experiences? Good.
I would say, I hire from USF a lot. I generally have 2 or 3 interns at any given time at my firm. From a graduate, the fact that you worked while you were in school is very important to me. Some of the people in the career fairs will tell you that don't put the job that you had at Outback Steakhouse on your resume. 100%, I want to see that you worked at Outback Steakhouse, that you can deal with people, that you can get yelled at and have something thrown at you and not lose your cool and keep it together. That's what we want to see. we know you don't know anything about engineering. We know you don't know how to build anything. You just know math. But we can teach you all those things if you're able to communicate. So that's what I like to look for, is experience doing something.
The other thing is just attitude. Having the right attitude makes all the difference, right? To your point, you can know everything in the world, but if your attitude isn't where it needs to be, it's going to be really hard for employers to say, yeah, I really want to bring that person over here, right? It's all about just knowing that you're going to go into what could be kind of an uncomfortable situation in your first job. You've never had one at that level. You're just coming out of school. You don't know anybody. It's like the first day of first grade all over again, right? But know that everybody there wants to help you and have a great attitude about it, and it makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, and it's one thing I think is I see a lot of students struggle with is they graduate from engineering school and like at home, you know, the family's like, oh, it's little Bobby, he's so smart. He went to engineering school, and they kind of have a chip. You graduate and you go to a firm, guess what? Everybody's smart. They're all smart, and they're smarter than you. And it's just like, how can I compete in this world? And it's very overwhelming, and just, you know, the right attitude gets you there.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for that. So kind of going into kind of working environment as young professionals, as most of them haven't been in full-time positions yet, what kind of workplace culture helps you thrive? What red flags should students watch for?
So I'll start that because, like I mentioned, there's certain things you want to look for in a firm and even the people that work at that firm. So, one of the things, for instance, is see if that firm offers an actual program for new grads. Most major, companies do now offer programs for new grads. So from year 0 to 4, you're literally, teamed up with other grads around the country at our company at Atkins Realis, and they meet on a monthly basis where they talk about just different topics. So similar to this kind of setting, because it's all virtual, and the topics could vary. So you want to look for organizations that are investing in new grads, that they are taking that time and offering that program. And in addition to that, you also, when you talk about culture, see what they're doing for all the different types of people that work in the firm, because Atkins Realis is an international firm. So yes, we have many offices in the US, but our parent company is actually in Canada. We have companies in South America, in Europe. So we have to make sure that our culture caters to every single person within the company. So you want to make sure that, oh, does this company offer what they call employee resource groups, that, hey, I could join this group and like-minded people have like-minded conversations. Other people could join if they want to, but they don't have to, you know? And then you want to look for companies that don't force you into things. That is key. And so when you talk about culture, those are the things you want to look for as a new grad.
Amazing, thank you. Did anyone else want to provide any more insight?
I guess a red flag would be if the company doesn't offer any opportunities for growth, was just the opposite of what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah. So next question. So how challenging is it to establish yourself in this field, and what can a student do to overcome those challenges?
Boy,
I think we're both licensed engineers, correct?
yeah, it is the engineering industry in the Tampa Bay area is, and we do the same thing, just different stuff. Our customers are
The
giant
DOT.
governments and the DOT and people like that, whereas my customers actually like are the gentleman at the end, his company. But on both sides, whether you're in the private sector or the public sector, it is still a good old boy network. And that the amount of time that firms like hers and mine spend marketing our companies and marketing our services is just unbelievable. And so if you're not starting to build your network, if you're not in, and you don't find a way to get in, it's challenging. So being in that group is what's going to help your career advance if you stay in engineering at least.
Yeah, and you mentioned it earlier, like building your network, but also making sure to join these organizations. We have ASCE, FES. These organizations will help you build that network. They already have a network and you just have to join. You know, USF offer that here. So take advantage of that. Because he is correct. It is building that network and attending the career fairs too, you know, because that's how you start. That's how you get to see the faces that are representing the companies that you want to work for, eventually want to work for. So definitely build on that. But then as, in particular in the civil engineering field, they do harp on getting your, you know, FE, then your PE. But then we have what we call designers. We have different tracks. So you want to look for companies that do offer different tracks. Because again, we know that some people don't come from engineering background. One of my favorite coworkers, she was a cashier actually at a mall, and she's been with Atkins Realis now 26 years. And the way she started, so you want to actually kind of build that, and she met Atkins Realis person while working at the mall. So having a good attitude and kind of just making sure that you build that network is important. Start building it now while you're here.
So kind of as we wrap up here today with the questions, we want to give you all an opportunity to kind of explain if you guys had any opportunities open at your organizations right now.
Sure. We're new to the Tampa market, so we're building our division right now. So we're small but rapidly growing, and we have opportunities from, you know, we're slightly different than the engineering side because we do everything from building homes to warranting homes to selling homes, developing our own land. So we have a great opportunity for people to learn about every different aspect of the home building business, right? Not that the engineering is one track. I think we all can agree that that was not what you guys heard here. There's all these different avenues. But home building for me and for you guys is an avenue that provides you opportunity to find a path that might work for you, because sometimes there may not be a linear path. You might have to create your own as you start to figure out what works for you, what you like, what you don't. And so for us, we're always looking for people that want to come in and explore the home building business and create a career path. We're talking about a summer internship. I don't have commitment to that yet today, but we're working on it. But those are the types of things that we would look for.
And so at Atkins Realis, we do have like a cycle for internships. And I think the window is opening up. It should have actually already been open for this summer internship. But then again, building your network, there's some managers that if they see a student that they like, they will open what we call a rec and say, hey, apply for this rec. And the student could apply that way and come on board. But we do have an internship program. But I also want to make a plug for scholarship programs. There are many companies that offer scholarship programs. And so Atkins Realis does offer a scholarship program. It's a semester-based program, meaning you can apply for it every semester and actually continue getting it. We have multiple students that have been awarded the scholarship on multiple semesters. It's a $4,000 scholarship. Please apply for it. The cycle just opened February 1st. So the deadline is March 31st as well. But look, we also have the Young Engineers Emerge, which is for new grads that apply. So look for the positions you want to look for is an Engineer 1 or what we call our PE trainee position. And I think there were a couple listed. I remember checking for that. So look for that. But then it's about location too. Plug. Be open to travel to other locations. We love South Florida, yes, but be open to going into other markets in other cities and other states. Because there's some states that are growing and the positions are at those locations as well.
Thank you.
So with us at Western, we are offering internships at the moment. I believe it's 2 that we're offering. Could be 1. We have an Orlando office. We have a South Florida office, and then we have our Tampa office, which is new. We're new to the Tampa market. But you know, one of the things that I love about what we do, which is waterproofing and concrete restoration, we work with a lot of engineers. It's not bad to get on your resume, to broaden your horizons for one. And two, I loved it so much. I studied engineering when I was in college, but one of the reasons why I never look back is because it's ever changing. I'm never dealing with the same problem every single day. So I'm not stuck doing the same thing every single day. There's a new problem to face. There's a new way to tackle things. You're constantly working with the team. It's a high volume, high energy, fast pace. And it's, in my opinion, it's a lot of fun. And you get to learn about the business of waterproofing and the financials and how lucrative it can be. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're always hiring interns. We're always looking for people to be interns. One thing I will notice, and I've come and talked to different settings, different classrooms. Once a year, I try to, any of you guys know this is Muchabi? And you guys take Dr. Muchabi? I used to go there once a year into his hydraulics class and present, and I'd ask by like a show of hands, how many of the students were gonna be structural engineers? And like 95% of the class raised their hand. And I'm just like, how many bridges do you think are being built in this town? I'm a water engineer, water resources engineer, and everybody's like, oh, it's dorky. Not really. I mean, every single new community you see up and down the street is what I'm designing as a land development engineer. And so we're looking for people that want to be in land development. Like, you know, there's a lot of big land development projects around here. University Mall next door is getting a massive redevelopment. You know, there might be like one structural engineer buried in the bottom of the pile working on that. But, you know, the transportation folks, the geotech folks, like you have Cutter here, they're really engaged with Urban Land Institute. You know, go to Cutter, go listen in on that stuff because they're connected with ULI. There's a lot of opportunity for geotechnical engineers, right? Everything has soil issues. There's a ton of opportunity for water engineers. Like, we cannot hire water resources engineers to save our lives. Like, and they get, no disrespect, but the drainage engineers get paid way more than the structural engineers. And there's a huge demand for them. There really is. So I would say be involved in that. And if you know, when the career fair is coming up, but also just like reach out to some of these firms and just be like, hey, you know, I'll work for free. You know, they're gonna pay you. Like, yeah, they're gonna pay you. But like, you know, take that chance, do that elevator speech, email, show up with a resume. I mean, you know, you have to just take that first chance. I mean, the worst thing they can say is no. But what happens when they say yes? Like, your life just goes, you know, in a whole new direction, and you never know where it's gonna blow. So.
Thank you for that. So now we're gonna open up the floor for any students, either online or in person. Please ask any questions that you might have. Yeah, go ahead.
If you don't mind me asking, what type of license do you guys have, or you have any license into the field?
So I have my PE, I received in 2009, and we have to go through the renewal cycle, and I've maintained it. And again, I think someone mentioned it, never stop learning. So we do have to continue taking credits, and they actually increased the Florida credits a few years ago. So now we have to take, I think, 18 continuing education credits every 2 years, but I do have my PE.
I'm also a licensed professional engineer. So when you graduate with your engineering degree, if you choose to go into a design field that requires you to sign and seal, you have to take a test when you graduate, and then you have to work underneath an engineer for 4 years. like almost like a doctor's residency. And then at the end of the 4 years, then you can apply for licensure. I think you can take the PE exam anytime now.
Anytime now.
It used to be
you
after
can.
4 years, you take it, but, so, you know, it takes a while to get licensed. But if you plan on doing any like real world, you know, this is gonna get built, design stuff, you'll need a professional engineer's license or structural engineer license in Florida.
And how, if you don't mind me asking again, how long does it take? Because I did my research. One of my first license I was gonna get was a general contractor. But at the end, it was between going to school or getting the license. And usually the general contractor license takes, that I was gonna apply for, it was 1 year and 2 months. And then the last 2 months, it was for me to prepare for the exam. So it's the last,
I think it takes, I estimate it takes 8 to 10 years to become a professional engineer, closer to 10.
Yeah.
okay,
Mhm.
thank you.
I have a question for the floor. Thank you guys for all coming out. I'm Alessandro. I'm a finance student here. I'm a freshman as well. So I'm looking into different areas and little niches that I could possibly get into later on in my life. And I noticed that you guys all had some change or transition in what you did. And I was just wondering, how do you know when those transitions come about or before they come about where you'd like to go?
So that's a great question. I mean, I think, quite honestly, to be fair, I didn't really know in the moment, right? It was kind of one of those things that I started to feel like, hey, there might be a shift for me. There might be something else out there. And then it was really starting to explore it, right? I started to feel it, started to, you know, kind of have those inner thoughts. And so then I started to talk to people. It all goes back to networking, you know, as we were all talking, I was sitting here thinking like, I have yet to get a job in my lifetime that wasn't through a network.
And I would also kind of implore you, you know, knowing finance, most finance want to go into banking, but look into engineering companies, look into construction companies, like the finance major actually do really well on, like I said, the business side, what the engineers did not go to school for. And they do really well. So don't kind of pigeon yourself into thinking, oh, I have to go into banking. There's actually every industry needs a finance person, you know, so kind of don't pigeon yourself into that one banking side of it.
I mean, they can engineer them and I can sell them, but we need a finance guy.
Or somebody in the finance has to tell them if they're gonna make any money.
Exactly.
I think just don't feel like your education is your career, right? You know, you're classically educated in finance. The world's your oyster. You can work for anybody that deals with money. And
So when I was going to school, I was faced with a crossroads because I had like a internship with a water resource company, and then I had an opportunity to go with this company, and that crossroad quickly, you know, it showed the light quickly because waterproofing and concrete preservation is really fun. It is really fun. You know, it's more fun. My first paycheck when I first got. I mean, it's a niche industry, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I don't go to, I mean, I love what I do, right? But I don't want to go to work, yeah.
I think that's the important thing though, is you have to love what you do.
Correct.
If you're not,
Absolutely.
if you wake up every day and you're miserable, go do something else.
Figure it out.
For sure.
Immediately, you know, don't wait. Go do something else.
Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Online as well, feel free to type out your questions and we'll have someone on our team read them out for you.
How do you do it for the group? How do you guys balance work-life balance with family, just enjoying life and just living life, right? I mean,
You figure it out, when you figure it out, let me know.
So I'll tell you, I'm different than these folks.
And I'm not a student, I'm with Stanley Martin Homes.
Oh, okay.
But I, to me, you know, I just turned 50 and I look back and I say to my daughter who's 21 at Arizona State, before you know it, you're gonna wake up and 20 years is gone. And I look back in the last 20 years and I realized, man, there's so many opportunities that I missed because the balance wasn't there. So I'm doing things later in life that I probably could have done. like next week, I'm leaving for 3 weeks on vacation to go to Asia. You can't do that today in the
Yeah,
workplace.
for you.
But 18 months of notice, I'm either going or retiring, one of the two. But I want this group to understand the importance of like work-life balance and how you balance work and the pressure and the stress and family and kids and all the things that come with it. Talked about like your first paycheck. I still have my first paycheck literally in my office. I made a copy of it from back in 1998. I have it. I look at
How
it.
much was it?
Yeah, and it wasn't for much. I'll be balanced, but just curious for me and for the group, because we could always learn from each other.
I think like when you're a recent graduate, there is no work-life balance. Like it's all work. I feel like I tell, our young engineers, this is horrible, but I tell them that there are 3 8-hour work days in a single day. Figure out how to work 2 of them. But you have to do that. You have to, to put the time in to become technically proficient at something. And then once you're technically proficient at something, then you can go ahead and take a little bit of a step back and have others do some of that work and find some more balance. But I don't know that there is, I mean, I like to work. I still work 60 hours a week.
When I,
And the thing is, it's not about balance per se, it's about choices.
Yeah.
It's what you choose. So you could choose to work the 60 hours, or you could work your 40. But understand, someone is watching. Someone is always watching to say, oh, hey, I saw Martini here, after 5, after 8. Give her this assignment. Hey, because I know one of the questions that was on there was, how do you, distinguish yourself from the next person?
Yeah, sure.
And if you're leaving at 5, it really does come down to hard work, because again, you're putting that time to learn. You're making that choice to continue learning. Now, again, if you love what you do, it doesn't feel like you're working. So that's where there's that difference, where it's the choice you make. So there's some of us, we go on vacation as well. It's about your choices. So you make that choice of, okay, am I going to work 80 hours this week? Or am I going to work 40, go on vacation? Or, hey, I have a deadline. I have to work 80 hours this week. So it's about choices.
Martine, would you agree that like the fulfillment, even though you may be that person that's working the 50 or 60 hours, or you're coming in on Saturday to catch up, or you're staying late, when you are entrusted with that big project, or, somebody entrusts you with that, you're going to work 80 hours if you love what you're doing so that you don't mess it up. And the balance is that I think that you're doing exactly what you dreamed of, is you're going to design that bridge or design that road or design that community. And that's what you wanted.
And it's not 80 hours all the time.
No.
So that's where that's the balance, is that, okay, it's 80 hours per month. And then you have a lull where it's like, oh, okay, it's chill. So, and again, but it does come down to choice.
Engineering firms didn't generally work hard and party hard too. So I would,
Yeah. I would
we
agree
didn't
with that.
talk about that much, but
they hit it right on the head. So, when you're working, or I'm working anyway, same thing, exactly how they talked about it. You're working 60 hours a week, but with that time, you're trying to become more proficient in what you're doing. So once you gain that proficiency, then you can let off the brakes a little bit, and you're not doing it all the time. But there is a time period where you're going to have to be working, because one, there's other people that want your spot too, and two, there's other people that are seeing your product that you're providing. So, and you're being graded on it. So you want to do a good job.
yeah.
And eventually when you become proficient at it, it becomes easier for you to do stuff like that. And since you love it, it's even easier for you to produce stuff like that.
Other people and other companies, because if, I don't know who the big Atkins competitor is now. You guys are PBS and J, you're all kinds of big
So HNTV.
HNTB, but they let their foot off the gas, and the next firm, AECom, is right there to jump and jump in and move in.
So the question is, I am set to graduate in May 2026, which coincides with the start of the summer 2026 internship. Am I still eligible for the Explore internship program as a recent graduate, or should I apply directly for entry-level positions within the Emerge program?
I would say apply for entry level into Merge. Just go right into it. There's no need to intern as a senior if this is your last semester. Go right into the Emerge program. Because again, the internship is the assumption that, okay, hey, by a certain date, we're done. Just go ahead and apply. If you're a senior, apply for positions. Start applying now. I'll tell you, some companies will hold your spot for you. You know, they'll say, hey, when is your start date? You tell them June, they will mark it down and they're expecting you to start in June.
Thank you, guys.
Any last questions?
Hi, thank y'all for coming out. I appreciate it. But I'm not from an engineering background specifically, but I've been more looking at like the civil and specifically like geotechnical and water resource space. But I feel like a lot when especially as a senior, when I'm looking at a lot of jobs, a lot of applications, they limit it to being like engineering only. So when doing that, if I am looking to kind of shift my industry a little bit, what kind of skills and things do you all feel like are good to like focus on and feel like could be widely applicable, even if you're not starting in like a just general engineering, like from a general engineering background?
Yeah, what did you major in?
I'm a geology major.
Geology. So there is a huge demand for hydrogeologists. So the bigger environmental firms, like across the street over here is Tierra. There's another company, it used to be called HSA, and then it was called Cardno TV. They're right across the street on Fowler Avenue. But they do a lot of like waste cleanup and they do a lot of groundwater stuff. They're looking at, but the geology degree gets you that first interview and then the first job, and then from there your career goes. But there's I would say look at the big geotechnical firms unless you're going to make a big switch, because there's a lot of groundwater modeling, subsurface aquifer modeling jobs.
Thank you.
So we had a question in the back there.
Yeah, I guess this is a question for everybody. I'm Jordan. I'm a third year civil engineering major. I'm hoping to concentrate in water resources. I wanted to know how many companies you guys worked at before the company you've been at now. How was it finding comfort and knowing that this is the place where you want to spend like the vast majority of the rest of your life?
For me, I think it's been 4 different companies in this industry. And really to answer that question, I think it goes back to culture, right? Like for me, it was about finding a place that felt like they were fostering a positive culture, that there was room for growth and opportunity. But really the key word for me is collaboration. I want to be part of something that everybody comes together with the same goal in mind. And so when you find that, you know it, right? And there's been places I was at that didn't have that, so I didn't stay. But when you find it, you know it, and you know they're going to a lot of the things we talked about. If they have programs for you to grow your career, those are places that really you want to explore more.
And I got to add as well, and I saw I had a coughing fit. But I've actually been with my company now 21 years. And so I've never left. Right out of school, came, and I'm losing my voice, but you hit it. Culture. It's extremely important to find that company that treats you well enough and care for you. Because if they don't, leave, because it's not going to get any better.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I've been with my company 9 years. Western has a blue water job. I bleed blue. I've only ever been with Western. And it all comes down to, like they're talking about, same thing, culture. It all comes to culture, relationships, building, growing as a team. I just never look back.
Yeah, I would say culture's big. I mean, I was with a firm for 7 years and then I opened my own company. But we have a saying in our office that culture kills strategy 8 days a week. And so we focus on culture. I mean, and we have 30 employees. Like, we take everybody and their husband or spouse or wife, whatever partner on a cruise once a year. I mean, it's the things that a company will do for the employees is wild. You wouldn't believe it when you're a student. What our firms will typically do for good engineers.
I have one more question. I'm sorry. You stated that you started your own company, and I was just wondering what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced and maybe you wish you had known going into.
Yeah, sure. I started my company in 2009, because my other company was bankrupt.
Yeah, it was not a job.
Want me to sit on the couch and tell you everything that went wrong and can't. Yeah, it's like therapy. But I will say, just the things I would say is, don't be afraid to be told no. Don't get upset if you get told no. Don't take no for an answer. Try until it's just absolutely no, or I'm gonna call the police. It's easy to question yourself, just like in school, you're 3/4 of the way through or something and you want to question yourself. You're like, did I do the right thing? Just keep grinding and it will work itself out. Just keep grinding.
So I do have another question from online. A student asked, I am currently considering whether to pursue a master's for civil engineering. Would you recommend it for improving my job opportunities or salary prospect?
Ooh, that's a good one. I would say, it was a question, if you were to go back, what would you check? Thank you. All right.
Thank you. That's very kind of.
Now I'm better. Thank you. I would say, like, I don't regret getting my master's, but like we mentioned, the licensure for civil engineering comes down to passing your FE during the 4 years to get the PE. So by staying to get your master's, and there's even some that stays to get their PhDs in civil. It doesn't set them back, but it comes to experience in the civil engineering world. It does come down to experience. Like you said, you have to work 4 years under a PE. You don't do that while in college working on your master's or your PhD. But when you do graduate with your master's, it kind of puts you ahead of a new grad that's graduating with their bachelor's because you're seen as more mature. There are certain aspects that come into play. But if I was to do it all over again, I would, because I did straight through where I did undergrad and grad. I would have undergrad, start working, then do grad. So that could be an option. Like that's what I would have changed if I had the opportunity to go back and change.
I would say this, I tell a lot of our interns that, not really the interns, but the new hires, the new engineers, that they should get a refund from the university and give me their tuition. Because the education you're getting here is great. It's just an education though, in math and science. Doesn't teach you how to do anything. You're gonna graduate and you can't do anything. Except math problems. If I were to choose a master's degree over working for a year, I would work for a year 1,000 times out of 1,000.
Yep.
Like if you're not working, you might be behind already. If you're a senior and you're not working with a firm or seeing how firm dynamics work. And I just believe that. I believe the education you can get in 6 months at an engineering firm is more than 6 years at a university.
Off that, so preferring to have like some sort of work or like you did, how you went to work, how you would rather, like if you were to go back, do a year of work and then get a grad. For a student who is doing that, let's say you do hire a student, do you guys offer any sort of like, almost like a tuition reimbursement or any help for people who are working in your firm and want to go and get a master's or anything? Do you guys offer things like that?
Yes, most of the larger firms offer that to where they offer tuition reimbursement, but it's a commitment.
Yeah.
So it is a commitment. Again, a company will invest in you, knowing that you will invest in them, that they will benefit from it as well. So for our company, for instance, and most companies are structured this way as well, is that they pay, I think, up to like 75% of the tuition, and then you commit 2 years.
Thank you.
You know, we have a lot of people that are still doing continuing education. A lot of our land use planners, generally, if you don't have a master's degree in that field, it's not the same as engineering. But I think that most firms that I've ever been associated with, and a lot of my peers, will go out of our way to, if you're a graduate and you're still pursuing a master's degree, if you need time off, you need a flexible schedule, you need to only work, half days on Tuesdays, figure it out. That's a great, go get that.
Amazing. So thank you guys so much. Thank you all for the questions. So last one, I'll give it over here.
So as students are transitioning, you mentioned that this might be some, if not most, their first full-time position. We are focusing on helping students to successfully transition from college to career. What advice, insights, suggestions would you give to students, a senior sitting next to me, who is looking to transition from college to career, so that they can have a successful transition into the workplace?
That's a great question, and kind of a tough one to answer, right? Because I think everybody's a little bit different. You have to know who you are and where you're trying to get to first off. And then big part of it is in building the network. We've talked about that, looking for culture, all that, but a lot of it's going to come down to you and how you present yourself in the workplace, right? We've all been in school. I remember what it was like. I didn't wear this to school, right? And I remember somebody telling me when I was going from one career to another that you have to look professional, right? Nobody wants to work with somebody that doesn't look the part first off. So assume the role, number one. And you might have to spend a few of mom and dad's dollars to go get some nice attire before you do that, but ask for the help. They'll be willing to do it. That's a big part of it. And the other part is just knowing that you're not going to know everything when you get there. Be okay with that, right? Failure is a big part of how you learn, and it's not a bad thing. Like, I make mistakes every day. I think I made 9 today before I got here. That's okay. But be willing to know that that's part of your process and your path, because you're going to be far more successful transitioning from a student to a professional when you do accept those things about life.
And for me, for instance, one of the examples I could give for transitioning, I myself, I'm from Miami, Florida, born and raised, went to school in Tallahassee, Florida for 6 years, and then moved to Tampa. New cities, technically opposites of each other. So learning how to find a mentor, because when I say find a mentor, that mentor will help you. Where do I live? What do I do? I don't know the city. So mentors can help with that. So again, find that mentor, like go to someone and find that mentor. So that way they'll help actually make that transition for you at work and outside of work easier.
Transitioning into a college to career, I would say just, become comfortable with being uncomfortable, make mistakes. It's okay to fail, maintain relationships, nurture relationships, learn how to build those relationships, and just find a mentor and keep down the path.
That company is GHD, and Brian is the head of the geology department. And so after this is over, you should come up and get my email and get me on an email and say, hey, can you give me that person's information? And then you do your elevator speech. You know, I'm at USF, geology. And if he ignores you, but you never know.
Worth a shot.
You know, or for butter, but you know, maybe you copy me because they want to get more business from me. And you copy Martine because they definitely want business from her. And all of a sudden, you'll see some connections and maybe Martine knows somebody at GHD too, because I'm sure she does. And it just goes. And but the transition is just, you got to start putting yourself out there. You got to put your video games down or your, whatever it is, the Snapchat. My kids are on Snapchat. And I'm like, go out in the world.
You know, that's a great point. And to kind of piggyback off of that, one of the things they don't teach you in school is how to talk to people professionally, right? And I think that's a big part of it is just, you have to go out there and do it. Daryl and I have an example of a young man that 24 years old, I think, graduated school a little while ago. He's trying to get into the home building business. We had 100 to 150 applicants for his role. He was the only one that walked into our office and handed us a resume and shook our hands. And guess who got the job?
Wow. Actually, it was interesting for everybody to learn. He actually reached out to me on LinkedIn on a Saturday, and there was something about his message that caught my attention. And I normally would have not taken a snapshot of it. I sent it to him. Before you know it, 3 days later, he was at our community. 3 days later, he was hired. And I also want to give credit to this young man right here, because I was at an event at USF last week, totally unrelated finance, as he said, and I invited him not thinking he was going to show up. And since last week, not only has he built this entire platform on LinkedIn and had become absolutely just like where you are today, asking the right questions, the first thing he did is showed up, and here he is sitting right next to me. Because you talk about networking and about shaking hands and relationships and building on things. This is a perfect example at 18, 19 years old. And I'm looking at it, right? Like I'm like the younger version of me. Like right here, you know? It's like, get out of here.
Your dreams.
Well, we thank you all so much for today, and I'd love to give our industry professionals a quick round of you all. And if you're open to it, maybe a couple of students come chat to you after.
Sure, yeah, 100%.
Amazing.
And that's all, folks.
That happens.
I'm a student. Let me show you. Oh, you're welcome, Brad.